Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. The command hall of the Empire was silent. Giant screens showed deep space, dark and calm. Stars moved slowly as patrol fleets followed their routes. Officers stood at their stations, bored but alert. This sector was peaceful. Nothing ever happened here. The Empire ruled this space for hundreds of years, and no enemy dared to come close. Admiral Corrin sat on the central chair, his face hard and proud. To him, this shift was just another routine watch. Then one screen flickered. A small light appeared near the edge of known space. At first, no one noticed. It was too small. Too quiet. A junior sensor officer frowned and leaned closer to his console. He checked again. The signal was wrong. It did not match any known object. He adjusted the scan. The light did not change. "Sir," the officer said, his voice unsure. Admiral Corrin did not look up. "What is it?" he asked calmly. "An object just appeared," the officer replied. "No jump signature. No engine trail." The room grew a little quieter. The admiral slowly raised his eyes to the screen. "Impossible," he said. "Everything leaves a trace." The object moved. Not slowly. Not fast. It moved instantly. One moment it was far away. The next moment it was closer. The distance between points meant nothing to it. Several officers turned to look. More screens began to flicker. Sensors tried to lock on. They failed. The object had no heat. No mass reading. No energy output. It was like it was not there, yet it clearly was. "Run a full scan," the admiral ordered. "All frequencies." The command hall filled with quiet tension. Numbers rolled across screens. Warnings blinked and vanished. The scanners showed nothing useful. The ship had no ID code. No known shape. No clear size. It was just a dark outline against the stars. The speed officer spoke next. His hands shook. "Sir, it is moving faster than our fastest ships. Faster than recorded limits." The admiral stood up. "How fast?" he demanded. The officer swallowed. "Too fast, sir. It breaks our models. It should not be possible." A cold feeling spread through the room. The Empire had rules. Space had rules. Everything obeyed them. This object did not. The admiral crossed his arms. "Send a challenge signal," he said. "Empire standard." A strong transmission was sent. It demanded identification. It warned of force. There was no reply. The object changed direction. It turned smoothly, without slowing down. It was now moving toward the Imperial fleet guarding the sector. The distance closed in seconds. Defense systems activated on their own. Weapons charged. Targeting computers screamed with errors. They could not predict the object's path. "Why can't we lock on?" shouted a weapons officer. "It keeps slipping," another replied. "Like it knows where we aim." The admiral clenched his jaw. "That is impossible," he said again, but this time his voice was lower. One of the outer patrol ships reported visual contact. Its captain spoke through the channel. "We see it," he said. "It's dark. No lights. No markings." Static filled the channel. "Sir," the captain continued, "it's getting closer. We are powering weapons." The signal cut off. The patrol ship vanished from the screen. No explosion. No debris. 1 second it was there. The next second it was gone. The command hall froze. No one spoke. No alarms sounded. Space was silent again, but the silence felt wrong. Admiral Corrin slowly sat back down. His hands were tight fists. "Status," he said. An officer answered, barely steady. "The patrol ship is gone. No wreckage. No energy spike." The unknown object stopped. It floated near the Imperial fleet. Close enough to see. Too close. The fleet commanders requested orders at once. Fear leaked into their voices. The Empire had lost ships before, but never like this. Not without a fight. Raise shields, the Admiral ordered. All ships. Maximum. The shields came up. Space shimmered around the fleet. The unknown object did not react. It simply waited. Then every sensor in the command hall went dark. Screens went black. Power flickered. Emergency lights turned on. Officers shouted reports. Systems were failing across the fleet. Communications dropped. Weapons powered down. Shields weakened. "How is it doing this?" someone cried. The Admiral stared at the last active screen. The object was still there. Untouched. Unbothered. Slowly, the sensors came back online. The object had moved again. It was now behind the Imperial fleet. No engine burn. No warning. It had crossed all defenses without effort. A deep silence filled the command hall. Everyone understood the truth at the same time. This was not a scout. Not a pirate. Not a lost machine. This was something else. Something far beyond them. Admiral Corrin spoke quietly. "Full alert across the Empire," he said. "This is no longer a border incident." He looked at the dark shape on the screen. "This," he added, "is a threat." The Empire reacted at once. Emergency signals raced through space, reaching every command center, every fleet, every world under Imperial control. Red alerts lit up screens across thousands of ships. Admirals were pulled from rest. Generals rushed into war rooms. No one asked why. The disappearance of a patrol ship without battle was enough. Inside the main command hall, officers spoke over each other, fear breaking the order they were trained to keep. Admiral Corrin stood silent, watching reports flood in. The unknown ship stayed behind the fleet, unmoving, as if listening. Communication officers sent message after message toward the dark vessel. Imperial language. Trade language. Ancient codes. Warnings. Demands. Even offers of peaceful contact. Nothing returned. The silence felt heavier than any threat. It was not the silence of distance. It was the silence of choice. The object was choosing not to answer. Fleet commanders began to argue. One demanded immediate attack, claiming the Empire must show strength. Another warned that weapons were useless. A third suggested retreat, something unthinkable only moments before. Voices rose. Pride clashed with fear. Admiral Corrin ended it with a raised hand. "We will not panic," he said, though his own chest felt tight. "We gather information first." A small recon ship was chosen. Light armor. Fast engines. Best sensors. Its captain accepted the mission without protest. The ship moved slowly away from the fleet, shields raised, weapons cold. All eyes followed it. The unknown vessel did not move. It waited. "Recon ship report," the Admiral ordered. The captain's voice came back clear. "Approaching target." No reaction so far. The recon ship closed the distance. Its scanners screamed errors. Data vanished as fast as it appeared. "Sir," the captain said, "we cannot read its surface. It's like scanning empty space." Then the unknown ship moved. Not toward the recon ship. Around it. The dark shape circled once, smooth and silent. The recon ship tried to turn, but its controls lagged. "We've lost steering," the captain reported. "Power is dropping." The recon ship froze. Its lights went out. The crew shouted over open channels. Then everything stopped. The ship did not explode. It did not break apart. It simply faded, like a shadow erased by light. The space it occupied became empty. Gasps filled the command hall. Several officers stepped back from their stations. The Empire had just lost another ship, closer, clearer, and still no answers. Panic spread fast now. Across the fleets, Captains demanded permission to fire or flee. Across the Empire, governors demanded protection. Civilian channels began to fill with rumors. Admiral Corrin felt the weight of history pressing down on him. The Empire had faced wars, rebellions, and disasters, but never this. There was no enemy to fight, no weakness to strike, only a silent presence that erased ships without effort. "Lock weapons," one admiral insisted over the channel. "If it moves again, we fire everything." Another shouted back, "And do what?" "Waste lives." The argument echoed through command lines. Discipline cracked. Fear made honesty sharp and cruel. The unknown ship finally acted again. It drifted closer to the heart of the fleet. Not rushing, not hiding. It wanted to be seen. Imperial sensors tracked it for only seconds before failing again. Every failure felt like an insult. Suddenly, all Imperial ships received the same alert. External access attempt detected. Firewalls engaged. Data systems strained. The unknown ship was not attacking with weapons. It was touching the Empire systems, gently, like a hand testing glass. "Cut external links," the Admiral ordered. "Isolate systems." Engineers worked in panic. Some systems obeyed. Others did not. The unknown presence slipped through gaps no one knew existed. A message reached the command hall from a distant fleet. "Sir, our logs are changing. Old records are being accessed." Another message followed. "Historical data corruption detected." The Empire's past was being opened. The unknown ship stopped again. It hovered, patient, as if waiting for the Empire to understand something. Admiral Corrin realized then that this was not a raid, not a conquest. This was a message written in fear and silence. Whatever stood before them knew the Empire well. Too well. "Prepare all leaders for emergency council," he ordered quietly. "This threat is beyond military command." He looked at the dark shape once more. "And keep watching it," he added. "If it moves, we need to know." Behind the Imperial fleet, the unknown ship remained still, watching, listening. And somewhere deep inside the Empire's vast systems, doors long sealed began to open. The emergency council formed faster than any before it. High leaders appeared on glowing screens from across the Empire. Their faces showed anger, fear, and disbelief. Reports played again and again. 2 ships gone. No wreckage. No enemy fire. The unknown vessel remained behind the main fleet, calm and silent. Admiral Corrin stood before the council, explaining what little they knew. Each word felt weak. One council member slammed a hand on his desk. "This is humiliation," he said. "An object enters our space and erases our ships. We must respond." Others agreed. Pride burned hot. The Empire was built on strength. To hesitate was to invite collapse. The order came quickly. A controlled show of force. A warning shot. Not to destroy, but to test. The fleet prepared. Weapons powered up. Targeting systems struggled but found a brief lock when the unknown ship stopped moving. Energy built across dozens of cannons. "Fire," the Admiral ordered. Light tore through space. A focused blast raced toward the dark vessel. Officers held their breath. The beam crossed the distance and struck. Nothing. The unknown ship was gone. No explosion. No impact. The shot continued until it faded into empty space. A second later, the unknown vessel reappeared. Closer. Much closer. It had moved during the attack, not away, but forward. The meaning was clear. The Empire could not touch it. It could touch the Empire any time it wished. Warning alarms screamed. Multiple systems failed at once. Power dropped across the fleet. Shield strength fell to half. Weapons went offline. Panic broke into open fear. "How did it bypass us?" an officer shouted. "It was not there," another replied. "Then it was everywhere." The unknown ship began to transmit. Not a full message. Just a signal. Simple. Clean. It forced its way onto every Imperial channel. Audio. Visual. Data. The screens flickered, then showed static. A voice tried to form. It failed. Words broke apart. The signal collapsed. Then silence returned. The council argued again. Some demanded full assault. Others called for retreat. A few spoke the word no one wanted to hear. Surrender. Admiral Corrin felt the Empire slipping toward chaos. He raised his voice. Enough, he said. We attempt contact again. This time, we listen. A peaceful channel was opened. No weapons charged. No shields raised further. The fleet powered down what little remained active. The gesture was risky. It was also desperate. The unknown ship responded. This time, the signal held. A low sound filled the command hall. Come. Steady. Not aggressive. Not friendly. Just present. Symbols appeared on screens, then shifted into readable language. A message formed. You were seen, it said. The words struck harder than any weapon. Seen meant watched. For how long, no one knew. Another line followed. You crossed a line you chose to forget. Confusion spread. Leaders demanded explanation. The admiral leaned forward. Identify yourself, he said. State your purpose. The signal paused. The unknown ship did not rush its answer. When the words came again, they were simple. Purpose is correction. The Empire's systems shook. Data streams surged. Old records opened on their own. Wars long erased appeared. Worlds marked as empty showed signs of past life. Names deleted from history flickered back into existence. What is this? A council member whispered. Fear replaced anger. The unknown ship sent no more words. Instead, it showed images. Broken cities. Silent skies. Fleets burning in forgotten wars. Each image carried dates the Empire recognized, but details they did not. The truth formed slowly and painfully. The Empire had erased more than enemies. It had erased memories. Suddenly, the transmission cut. The unknown ship moved again. It drifted toward the inner systems, toward the Empire's core worlds. Stop it, someone shouted. Block its path. But no one knew how. The fleet was powerless. Admiral Corrin made a choice. All ships hold position, he ordered. Do not provoke it. His voice shook, but the command held. As the unknown vessel passed the fleet, close enough to feel, every system went silent for a heartbeat. In that moment, the Empire understood something terrifying. This ship was not here to conquer space. It was here to judge it. When systems returned, the unknown ship was gone. Not destroyed. Not hidden. Simply absent. A final message appeared across Imperial screens. First contact has failed, it read. Then the darkness of space closed in, and the Empire was left alone with its fear and its past. The Empire did not sleep. Across thousands of worlds, lights stayed on and screens stayed active. Leaders gathered in secured chambers while fleets remained frozen in defensive positions. Fear moved faster than any ship. The unknown vessel had vanished, but its presence remained heavy in every mind. Admiral Corrin stood in the command hall, staring at the last known location of the ship. Silence filled the room, broken only by quiet system checks and nervous breathing. Everyone waited, though no one knew for what. Hours passed. Then, without warning, every Imperial sensor activated at once. Not with alarms, but with clarity. Data flowed clean and sharp, better than ever before. The unknown ship appeared again, not near the fleets, not near the borders, but far above the Empire's capital world. It did not hide. It did not rush. It simply arrived. Panic surged through command channels. Civilian networks began to light up as people saw the dark shape in the sky. Governors demanded action. Defense grids powered up on the capital world, ancient weapons meant to stop planetary destruction. Admiral Corrin raised his hand. "Do not fire," he ordered. "Not unless it attacks." The unknown ship responded by doing nothing. It hovered, silent and patient. Then a message appeared. Not loud. Not forced. It slipped gently into imperial systems like it had always belonged there. The words were simple, clear. "We speak now." No threats followed. No demands. Just those 3 words. The Empire held its breath. The message continued. "You fear what you do not remember." The words struck deep. Data streams opened across secure archives. Records sealed for centuries unlocked without resistance. Names appeared. Dates. Locations. The Empire's history began to rewrite itself in real time. Admiral Corrin watched as officers gasped at their screens. Forgotten campaigns returned. Entire wars reappeared, wars that were officially listed as minor border conflicts. The truth was far worse. Worlds burned. Species vanished. Alliances betrayed. A council leader spoke, voice shaking. "These records were erased by us." The unknown ship sent another line. "Erased does not mean forgiven." Images followed. Not violent. Not graphic. Just silent views of empty planets, broken cities covered in dust, skies that had never healed. The weight of guilt pressed down on the Empire like gravity. The message paused. Time stretched. The unknown ship waited again. It always waited. Then it spoke once more. "You called yourselves protectors." The sentence hurt. The Empire's pride was built on that belief. Order. Stability. Control. Yet the evidence on every screen said otherwise. Admiral Corrin stepped forward. "If you know all this," he said quietly, "then you know we cannot change the past." The unknown ship answered at once. "No. But you can face it." A deep silence followed. No alarms. No system failures. Just truth laid bare. The Empire realized this was not an invasion. This was a reckoning. One final data stream opened. A single file. A name long deleted from history appeared at the top. Beneath it were records of cooperation, shared victories, and then betrayal. The Empire had turned on an ally, erased their existence, and claimed their technology as its own. A whisper spread through the command hall. "We thought they died out." The unknown ship replied, "You never checked." The message ended. No threats. No countdown. The unknown vessel remained above the capital world, unmoving. Admiral Corrin understood the danger now. This enemy did not want destruction. It wanted acknowledgement. And that was far more dangerous. Across the Empire, citizens watched the dark shape in their skies. Fear mixed with confusion. The Empire had always been strong. Always right. Now doubt cracked its image. Another message appeared, short and final. "Prepare to listen." The unknown ship did not move. But everyone felt that this was only the beginning. The Empire began to search itself. Deep archives opened across command centers and data vaults that had not been touched for centuries unlocked without resistance. Historians, analysts, and intelligence officers worked together in silence, their faces pale as forgotten truths returned. Admiral Corrin watched streams of information scroll endlessly, each line cutting deeper than the last. The Empire's official history no longer matched reality. Wars listed as quick victories were long and brutal. Peace treaties celebrated as fair were forced at the edge of extinction. Entire star systems marked as empty had once been alive. The unknown ship remained above the capital world, silent, giving no guidance, yet its presence pushed the Empire forward like an unseen hand. As hours passed, a pattern emerged. The erased records were not random. They followed one path, one repeated name that appeared and vanished again and again. A species. An ally. A partner in the Empire's rise. Long ago, before the Empire became dominant, it had been weak, surrounded by stronger powers. The record showed a time when it nearly fell, saved only by help from outsiders who brought advanced knowledge, strategy, and technology. Together they had won impossible battles. Together they had reshaped the balance of power. But as the empire grew stronger, fear replaced gratitude. The ally became a threat in imperial eyes. Their independence became dangerous. Their refusal to kneel became unforgivable. The record showed secret councils, quiet decisions, and silent fleets sent under false banners. Worlds were taken. Cities were destroyed. Survivors were scattered. Then the final act came. The Allies' name was erased. Their language deleted. Their image removed. History was rewritten so completely that even their enemies forgot them. Admiral Corrin felt shame tighten his chest. This was not the empire he was taught to serve, yet it was the empire that existed. Reports continued to arrive from distant sectors. Old ruins were activating. Signals long thought natural were revealed as hidden beacons. The unknown ship was not alone in knowledge. The galaxy itself remembered. A senior analyst finally spoke, her voice shaking. "Sir, these records match the unknown vessel's technology. The designs are similar, but far more advanced." The realization spread quickly. The Empire had not created its greatest tools alone. It had taken them, improved them, claimed them. The unknown ship was not an invader from nowhere. It was a survivor, a witness, a reminder. As this truth settled, the unknown ship sent another message, brief and calm. "You have found the lie." No accusation followed. No anger. Just fact. Admiral Corrin stepped closer to the screen. "Why now?" he asked, knowing it might not answer. The reply came after a pause. "Because you reached again." New data appeared, showing recent imperial expansion plans, secret projects aimed beyond known space. The Empire had been preparing to repeat the past. To take. To erase. Fear spread through the Council. This was not just judgment for old crimes. This was prevention. The unknown ship was stopping a cycle. Another message followed. The past watches the present. The Empire's fleets remained frozen, powerless not by force but by understanding. Every aggressive option now carried unbearable weight. To attack would confirm guilt. To flee would admit fear. To ignore would invite consequences unseen. Civilians across the Empire began to protest as fragments of truth leaked into public channels. The image of the Empire cracked further. Admiral Corrin understood that control was already slipping. The unknown ship had done more damage than any weapon ever could. Then the ship finally moved. Slowly, deliberately, it changed position and began traveling toward the inner regions of the Empire, toward worlds listed in the newly restored records. Toward places marked as forgotten. Panic surged again. "It's heading for the core archives," someone shouted. Another voice answered, "No, it's heading for the first erased world." The realization struck hard. This was not random movement. This was a path. A journey through memory. Admiral Corrin issued a quiet order. No interception. No pursuit. The fleet commanders obeyed, though every instinct screamed against it. As the unknown ship moved away from the capital world, one final message appeared. "You will remember them." Then the signal ended. The ship continued forward, and the Empire, for the first time in its long history, followed not with weapons, but with fear of the truth it was about to face. Fear turned into resolve. As the unknown ship moved deeper into imperial space, leaders reached the same conclusion without saying it aloud. Truth alone would not stop what was coming. The Empire could not allow a single vessel to decide its future. Admiral Corrin stood before the Emergency Council as orders formed across secure channels. Fleets that had waited in silence now began to move. Massive warships awakened ancient engines. Hidden weapons platforms powered up across key systems. The Empire gathered its full strength, not in anger, but in survival. This was not pride anymore. This was fear of collapse. The unknown ship continued its path, calm and steady, ignoring the growing wall of power ahead. Scouts reported its position, speed, and direction, though none of the data made sense. It did not accelerate. It did not slow. It simply was where it needed to be. The Empire chose a battlefield near an uninhabited system, far from civilians. Thousands of ships formed a layered formation, weapons aligned, shields overlapping. Superweapons charged, drawing energy from stars themselves. This was power no enemy had ever survived. Admiral Corrin gave the order with a heavy heart. Engage. Space ignited. Beams of energy, missiles, and focused gravity weapons flooded the region where the unknown ship floated. Light swallowed darkness. Sensors overloaded from the force released. For several long seconds, the unknown vessel vanished behind pure destruction. Cheers almost broke out in some command rooms. Hope rose, fragile and desperate. Then the fire cleared. The unknown ship was still there. Untouched. Not a mark on its surface. Not even displaced. It had not dodged. It had not defended. It had endured. Silence followed. The Empire's greatest weapons had failed. Again. The unknown ship finally reacted. Not with violence. With movement. It advanced through the fleet formation as if the ships were ghosts. Where it passed, systems shut down. Ships drifted powerless but unharmed. Crews lived. No one died. The message was clear. This was restraint. Deliberate and complete. Panic returned stronger than before. Some captains tried to flee. Their engines failed. Others begged for orders. Admiral Corrin could barely speak as reports flooded in. The unknown ship reached the center of the formation and stopped. It sent a message, broadcast to every Imperial ship. "This is not war," it said. "This is refusal." The words cut deeper than fire. The Empire had struck with everything it had. The response was mercy. And that mercy felt like judgment. The Council demanded action, any action. Some called for total destruction protocols. Others demanded surrender. Admiral Corrin realized that if the Empire continued down this path, it would destroy itself without the unknown ship firing a single weapon. He made a choice that would mark history. "Stand down," he ordered. Weapons powered down. Fleets went silent. The unknown ship waited. Then it moved again, leaving the disabled ships behind. As it passed the final line of Imperial defenses, power slowly returned to every vessel it had touched. No damage. No loss of life. Only fear and shame remained. The unknown ship sent one final message before leaving the battlefield. Strength without truth always fails. Then it disappeared into deep space, continuing its path toward the forgotten worlds. The Empire remained behind, surrounded by intact fleets that felt weaker than ever before. Admiral Corrin lowered his head. The strike had failed, but worse, it had proven something the Empire could no longer deny. This enemy did not fear their power. And for the first time, the Empire feared itself. The Empire struggled to recover after the failed strike. Fleets regrouped in silence. Ships that should have been proud symbols of power now felt small and weak. Admiral Corrin remained at his station, watching the path of the unknown ship as it moved toward the forgotten worlds. No one spoke of attack anymore. That idea had died. What remained was fear mixed with a growing need to understand. Across Imperial space, citizens watched the news feeds closely. Rumors spread faster than official statements. Some said the Empire was facing gods. Others said ancient machines had returned. No one guessed the truth. The unknown ship arrived above the first erased world. From Imperial records, it was listed as empty, barren, lifeless. But long-range sensors now showed faint signs of activity beneath the surface. Old cities, hidden power systems, life that had survived in silence. The ship did not attack. It hovered and waited, as it always did. Then it sent a message, stronger and clearer than before. "We will no longer hide," the message said. The signal reached every Imperial channel at once. Visual data followed. The dark screen changed, showing the inside of the unknown ship for the first time. Clean lines. Simple design. No signs of luxury. No symbols of rule. Just purpose. Then figures appeared. They stood upright. 2 arms, 2 legs, forward-facing eyes, pale and dark skin tones mixed together, scarred faces, calm expressions. They looked fragile compared to most galactic species, and yet they stood without fear before the Empire. A voice spoke, clear, steady, human. "We are human," it said. The word echoed across the Empire. Some leaders froze. Others searched archives at once. The name appeared in old, broken files. A minor species, listed as extinct, removed after an early alliance failure. Nothing more. The truth hit like a shockwave. "You erased us," the human continued. "You used our knowledge. You took our worlds. Then you deleted our name." Images followed. Human cities burning. Fleets fighting side by side with imperial ships long ago. Then betrayal. Imperial weapons turning on human defenses. Worlds falling into silence. Survivors fleeing into deep space. "We survived," the voice said. "Not because we were stronger. Because we adapted." The Empire watched as images showed humans spreading into the dark edges of the galaxy. Learning. Growing. Improving the technology they once shared freely. Not building empires. Not conquering. Watching. Waiting. Admiral Corrin felt something unfamiliar tighten his chest. Respect. These humans had been hurt beyond measure, yet they had returned without rage. Without destruction. "We did not come for revenge," the human said. "We came because you were about to repeat the same crime." Data appeared showing Imperial expansion fleets preparing to move into unknown space, toward regions humans now protected. The timing became clear. This was not chance. This was intervention. A council leader shouted, "Why reveal yourselves now?" The human answered calmly, "Because you were no longer afraid of the past." Silence followed. The words carried weight. The Empire had forgotten too much, and forgetting had made it dangerous. Another human stepped forward. Older. Eyes tired. "We watched you grow," he said. "We watched you call yourselves guardians of order. And we watched you erase others like you erased us." The message was not angry. That made it worse. "We are not your enemies," the human continued. "But we will not be your victims again." The unknown ship powered down its masking systems. For the first time, its true scale became clear. It was not one ship. It was part of a hidden network. Signals lit up across deep space. Dozens. Then hundreds. Human vessels, watching from beyond sight for decades. Fear swept through the Empire. Not fear of attack. Fear of balance shifting. Admiral Corrin stepped forward, his voice low. "What do you want?" The human answered without delay. "Acknowledgement." Another pause. Then, "And change." The message ended there. No demands. No threats. Just truth. The unknown ship remained above the human world, no longer unknown. Across the Empire, people stared at the screens, realizing the galaxy was far more alive, and far more watched, than they had ever believed. Humanity had returned. Not as conquerors. Not as beggars. But as witnesses who refused to be erased again. The Empire stood still after the human reveal. No alarms sounded. No fleets moved. Across command halls and council chambers, leaders stared at the same truth playing on their screens. Humans were not a myth. Not a mistake. They were real, alive, and watching. Admiral Corrin felt the weight of every lost record and every erased name pressing down on his shoulders. The Empire had believed history was something it could control. Now history was speaking back. Emergency councils formed again, but this time the arguments were quieter. There was no talk of attack. No one suggested force. The failed strike and the human restraint had changed everything. Power no longer felt absolute. Pride no longer felt safe. The question was no longer how to win, but how to survive what was coming next. The human ship sent another transmission. It was not loud. It did not override systems. It waited until the Empire opened a channel. When it spoke, the voice was the same calm tone. "This is Judgment Day," it said. "Not for destruction. For truth." Data began to flow. Planet by planet. War by war. The humans listed the Empire's actions across centuries. Every erased species. Every forced silence. Every world taken under false peace. Each claim was supported by evidence. Sensor logs. Archived signals. Survivor records. The Empire could not deny any of it. The truth was complete. Across Imperial space, citizens watched the broadcast. Panic spread at first, then anger, then something deeper. Shame. The image of the Empire cracked completely. Protests erupted on core worlds. Some demanded punishment for leaders. Others begged the humans for mercy. Inside the command hall, a senior council member broke down. "We thought order mattered more than lives," he whispered. No one argued. The human voice continued. "You feared chaos," it said. "So you became it." The words were simple. They cut deeply. Admiral Corrin felt them settle into his chest like stone. He stepped forward and spoke, not as a commander, but as a citizen. "What is your judgment?" he asked. The humans did not answer at once. The silence stretched. Fleets waited. Worlds waited. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Then the humans showed something new. A projection appeared of Imperial fleets frozen in space during the earlier battle. "We could have ended you," the voice said. "We chose not to." Another image followed. Human ships repairing damaged worlds in secret. Protecting trade routes the Empire ignored. Watching threats grow and quietly stopping them. "We already act," the human said. "We just do not rule." The judgment was not death. That became clear. It was exposure. The humans had already taken control of the narrative. The Empire could no longer hide. A final list appeared. Conditions. Simple. Clear. The Empire must acknowledge every erased species. Restore their history. Return stolen worlds where possible. End expansion into protected regions. Accept human oversight on future actions. The Council reacted with shock. Oversight was unthinkable. To be watched. To be judged. Yet the alternative was worse. Defiance meant collapse. Admiral Corrin spoke again. "If we refuse?" The human answered calmly. "Then the galaxy will know exactly who you are." That was the true weapon. Not fleets. Not technology. Truth. The Empire's power depended on belief. Order depended on trust. Without it, the Empire would fall apart from within. One by one, council members nodded. Some in fear. Some in acceptance. Some in relief. The decision was made. "We accept," Admiral Corrin said. The humans did not celebrate. They did not threaten. They simply acknowledged the choice. "Then change begins," the voice replied. Across the Empire, systems updated. Archives unlocked permanently. Suppressed histories became public. Names long erased returned to memory. The Empire's people began to learn who they truly were, and what had been done in their name. The human ships did not move closer. They did not occupy worlds. They remained at a distance, watching. Witnesses, not rulers. As the broadcast ended, Admiral Corrin understood something important. Judgment Day had not destroyed the Empire. It had stripped it bare. What survived would be something new, or nothing at all. Above the forgotten world, the human ship remained steady. The judgment was complete. The future, uncertain and exposed, had finally begun. The Empire had survived Judgment Day, but the fear did not fade. Across fleets and command halls, officers whispered of the humans' true power. It was not weapons or fleets that had defeated them. It was knowledge, restraint, and the ability to control outcomes without violence. Admiral Corrin watched as reports poured in from fleets that had been frozen during the battle. Ships had powered down for hours, yet no systems had been harmed. Weapons offline, shields down, engines stalled, and yet crews remained unharmed. Every ship had been touched by the humans' control, and every crew understood that any misstep could be fatal. The realization spread quickly. The humans had power far beyond conventional war. They could stop fleets without firing a shot. They could manipulate systems, gravity, energy, and information across vast distances. The Empire, with all its strength, had nothing to counter it. Across the galaxy, the human ships gathered over strategic locations. They did not attack. They did not occupy. They simply observed, silently enforcing a presence that demanded respect. The humans demonstrated this power again when a fleet of imperial ships attempted a minor drill. Engines roared, weapons charged, but as soon as they moved, systems froze. Shields glimmered, then fell. Weapons refused to fire. It was a subtle but undeniable warning. Defiance would be impossible. Commanders stared helplessly at the readouts, realizing their most basic tools of control were meaningless against beings who could command reality itself. The humans sent a message, calm and precise. Power without wisdom is destruction. You have nearly repeated the mistakes of the past. We will not allow it. No anger. No threat. Only absolute authority. The Empire understood that this power was not meant to destroy, but to prevent. For the first time, the Empire felt the weight of true judgment, not through violence, but through total control of outcomes. Admiral Corrin ordered fleets to stand down completely. No maneuvers, no exercises, no preparations. Silence fell over thousands of ships. Engineers and captains obeyed without hesitation. The humans' presence was a lesson. Power could be absolute, yet mercy could make it infinitely more dangerous. They had shown the Empire what it meant to be dominant without cruelty, to judge without bloodshed. Then, the humans made their terms clear. A broadcast appeared across all Imperial systems, visible to every world, fleet, and command center. You have been given a choice, the voice said. Your actions will define what survives. Misuse of power ends now. You will honor history. You will protect life. You will accept oversight where necessary. Disobedience will be corrected. The statement was simple, but the meaning profound. Humanity had demonstrated control far beyond anything the Empire could imagine. For the first time in history, obedience was not demanded. It was enforced by undeniable power. Admiral Corrin realized the lesson fully when he reviewed systems reports. The humans had touched not just ships, but energy grids, communications, and even the flow of information in ways that were undetectable yet complete. They had proven that they could intervene in the smallest systems or the largest fleets at will. And yet, no lives had been lost. No cities had burned. No fleets had been destroyed. The lesson was clear: dominance without compassion is empty. Compassion with dominance is absolute. Across the Empire, leaders convened to discuss the humans' terms. Fear, awe, and shame filled every chamber. No one questioned the truth of what had happened. No one doubted the humans' abilities. Every argument of pride or rebellion dissolved instantly under the weight of evidence. The humans had acted, and the Empire had survived, but only because it chose compliance and humility. Finally, a message appeared across the main command channels. We grant you life. We grant you history. We grant you the chance to change. Use it wisely. We will be watching. Then, the fleet began to move. Not to attack, not to retreat, not to claim worlds. They returned to hidden sectors, distant watchpoints, always present, always patient. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as guardians. The Empire, left to its own devices, felt smaller, weaker, yet wiser. The fleets were intact. The worlds were safe. But the lesson was burned into every mind. True power lies not in destruction, but in the ability to enforce justice without violence. Admiral Corrin gazed at the starfield outside the command hall. The humans had shown him and the Empire what it truly meant to be powerful. The fleets would remain intact. The Empire would continue. But nothing, no fleet, no weapon, no pride, would ever feel the same again. The humans had returned the galaxy to balance, and the Empire had no choice but to follow it. Above the forgotten worlds, the human ships remained. Silent, watchful, protective. And the Empire, for the first time in centuries, understood that survival without change was no longer enough. The Empire had endured judgment, survived demonstrations of power, and faced the humans' truth. Across command halls, fleets, and planetary systems, leaders now moved cautiously. Pride had been replaced by respect, fear, and understanding. Admiral Corrin walked through the main command hall, watching officers adjust to a reality far different from the one they had known. Every screen reminded them of mistakes long hidden, and every message from the humans reinforced that the galaxy was no longer theirs to command without consequence. The humans had not attacked. They had not taken worlds. They had returned not to conquer, but to witness, to guide, and to enforce balance. Across the Empire, systems had been corrected. Erased histories restored. Names of forgotten species returned. Boundaries were redrawn. Worlds once claimed by the Empire were returned to those who survived. Citizens of the Empire saw their past clearly for the first time. Shame, awe, and hope intertwined as they learned what had been lost and what might still be saved. Admiral Corrin convened the new council. The old way of ruling was gone. Decisions had to be measured. Actions had to consider history, truth, and life itself. Leaders who once sought power above all else now faced the humans' silent watch. Every decision carried weight beyond strategy or politics. It carried morality, balance, and consequence. The Empire would act, but under the understanding that power without responsibility was meaningless. The human ships remained at the edge of imperial space, silent observers, never imposing but always present. Their message was clear: interference only when necessary, guidance without domination, judgment without cruelty. The Empire now understood that the galaxy had rules beyond conquest. Survival depended on respect for life, memory, and justice. Admiral Corrin looked at the stars. The humans' fleet slowly dispersed, returning to hidden positions, maintaining vigilance without aggression. The Empire's fleets returned to their stations, intact but forever changed. They had power, but they also had humility. They had survived, but survival now required more than strength. It required wisdom, compassion, and remembrance. Across the Empire, citizens and soldiers alike began to feel a shift. Education and history were restored. Truth replaced propaganda. Leaders acted with awareness of their past mistakes. The Empire's identity evolved. No longer just a conqueror of worlds, it became a participant in a galaxy that would not be erased or ignored. The humans had given the Empire a choice and a lesson. They had returned not to rule, but to protect. Not to punish, but to remind. Their presence lingered like a shadow over the Empire, a silent reminder that true power was measured not by fleets or weapons, but by the ability to shape outcomes wisely and without needless destruction. For Admiral Corrin and the new council, the future was uncertain, but it was guided by a new principle: authority must serve life, not dominate it. The Empire survived, yes, but it had been transformed. Its people, fleets, and leaders would never be the same. History would no longer be written by convenience or ambition, but by truth and responsibility. The final message from the humans appeared across all imperial channels. We return to watch, to protect, to remember. The galaxy is alive, and so must its guardians be. Use your second chance wisely. And with that, the human ships disappeared into the blackness of space, leaving the Empire to rebuild, reflect, and govern under a new order. The stars were the same, but the galaxy was not. The Empire had survived, but it would never rule the same way again. It had learned that power without conscience is empty, and conscience without power is vulnerable. Together, those lessons would shape the new era. The Empire looked to the future. The humans watched from the shadows. A new order had begun, born of truth, restraint, and the return of those once forgotten. The galaxy had changed, and so had the Empire. Survival was no longer enough. It had to be earned with wisdom, respect, and the courage to face the past.